What's happening, fellas? Well, let me show you what I've been up to tonight. So, trying to sort out how I'm going to want to do the linkage setup for the elevator servos. And first thing is, like I talk about with these planes, is the lateral location of the control horn, in this case, control horn trusses, and then also the width of the control horn trusses. So we already knew that the width was not going to work. They make them so tight on extreme flight versus Skywings. Skywings are fine. I could totally use the Skywings. Totally stock. This is just, I just do the stock setup. But extreme flight, it's no way. So I got to widen it up. So I got to measure that for the slot down here with the conical on each side of the ball link, so that you get bind-free pivot. You can pivot quite a ways with this setup. So you can use any size servo arm you want, and nothing will bind. And yeah, the planes come with this. They come with the conicals, the Duber ball links, all this stuff. So super cool. So what I typically do, I always want this as close to the side of the servo body as possible over here. And so what I typically do, to be a little bit lazy, is I use the factory slot here, but then I make this side, I make a new slot wider towards the servo body. And usually there's enough control horn for that, there's enough hard point. If there's not enough hard point here, I got to put a new hard point in. In that case, I'll probably move the whole thing. Well, I do for sure. I move the whole thing over. And in my hard points, what I do is I take the covering off, and I take and make a sandwich of aircraft ply, balsa, and then aircraft ply, and glue that all together. And then I shape that, glue that inside the surface, and then I recover it back. Then I can make the slots where I want them, and they'll be real close to the side of the servo body. But this works out fine. There's hard point there, plenty of hard point. It was hard to get through it, hard to whittle it out. So yeah, good hard point. This is factory, this is hard point. And then I use two stabilizers, cut, you can see cut down the middle right there. And then I cut the covering and glued them on. And now some of you guys do that anyway, but I usually don't. I don't cut the covering here. I just let the stabilizer glue onto the covering because I feel like it's plenty strong. But in this case, since the stabilizers doesn't attach both together of the trusses, it's cut. It's two different plates that have been cut in the middle and spliced. I go ahead and cut the covering and glue that on. So what does doing that get me? What I'm looking for here is a few things. So one, let's see if we can get all this in focus. When I'm fully deflected, like right here, my control horn is banging into the stab. This is as much as I can get. I'm looking for this push arm, push rod to be parallel with the servo body. And you see it's very close. It'd only be better if I moved both of these trusses over, which would have been a lot more work. But it's plenty close enough. And then when I'm full deflection the other way, I'm looking for the same thing, them to be in line. Or be parallel. Okay, then from there, you can see here there we go, that I'm pretty parallel with the servo top, right here, the top of the servo, and the push rod parallel. And here, fully deflected, banging on the surface. I'm pretty parallel here too, within reason. And yeah, the reason I want these angles, what I'll always see on airplanes is that this push rod goes up. So it'll be up on top here, and then that will be prying up on this servo arm. So even if you have 1.5 inches, even if you have 1.25 inches, it doesn't even matter. It's prying on this output gear. And this is the abuse of servos. This is what gets the cases break down, get wallered out. This output gear is taking so much heat. So I try to get that as much as possible, just working on the leverage on the side load and not have it being pried off. I don't want that thing pried off. I don't want it to wear out prematurely. So that's what I'm looking for there. Then the other thing I'm looking for a list of things, but is also I'm looking to get the full deflection. In this case, both sides get about 60 degrees. When this control horn hits the surface, I get about 60 degrees, which is plenty, 60, 62 degrees on this plane. I don't know if any of the XA guys are need more extreme than that. I think I kind of set them up as extreme as anybody, but I don't know. But if you do, you could not use these at all and use the Dubro clevises that have control horn clevis, or control horn, clevis that has an 832 bolt and a clevis on that, and then you're offset, and you can offset your servo arm too, and then this will come all the way down, and you'll get the full 80 degrees that they've beveled into this, or 75, whatever this is. But I don't think anybody needs like an air brake. But what do I know? But right now you're over 60 degrees, which is great, I think. And so then your next question is, what kind of resolution do I get with that? And so then I'm checking with the servo arm. I want the shortest servo arm that'll give me all the throw that I get, so that I need, so that I can get max resolution. So I tried 1.5, and I didn't have enough throw. I tried 2, and I got the throw. I went bevel to bevel, but I didn't have full resolution in the radio. I only needed, was it 110, something like that in the endpoints. So then I went to 1 3/4. I went bevel to bevel, slammed into the surface, 62 degrees each way, and I needed 137 on the endpoints of the radio, so I got max resolution. So that's what you're looking for. That's what I wanted. And then the other thing I wanted to show was, I talk about how I like these Northwest servo arms, also the Kike servo arms. There's quite a few that aren't doubled up here the way Extreme Flight does. Now you could use those too. You just need to put a little wood spacer underneath these servo screws to raise the servo up a little bit. Then you could use the Extreme Flight. But what you see happening is that see how loose and free that is? And then when they close it down, see it's still loose and free? It's just the same. Is that on those planes, instead of being level here, the push rod goes down at an angle this way and then up at an angle that way on the control horn, and it binds, with all those angles that are creating bad leverage for everything. So that's why, that's another thing I'm looking for here. See how free and easy that is? Just the same as it is here. What else? So, that's what I want. Took a while to get it on the first one, figure out how to get everything to meet my criteria. Now that I have this sorted out, I can do it on the other elevator much faster. Then, though, I still got to figure out on the ailerons, but it'll be probably similar. But yeah, for sure it'll be, this factory slot and then add a slot towards the servo on the ailerons. And we'll see. Probably the same thing. It's probably going to be 1 3/4 will get me the throw that I want with the resolution I want. But I shouldn't say. I'll have to figure that out. Then in the ailerons too, even on the elevators, even with one servo, if you want to really get into it, then the length of your push rod is going to determine with a protractor, and the length of your push rod, adjusting that to find whatever endpoint you need, not necessarily 90 and pretty much never 90, will get you to have the servo move the same distance off of that point each way, to have the control surface from its center move the same distance each way. So in the aileron, since there's 2 per aileron, I'll be doing that. I'll be using a protractor, and I'll be adjusting the push rod length until I get that synchronization, so that whatever's happening on the left side of the plane, not only is it happening exactly the same between the 2 servos, but on the opposite side of the plane, the exact same thing is happening. So more runtime, longer wear on your servos before you have to have maintenance done on them, and Also, you know, that easier to get axial because everything's going the same distance, you know, on each side. So if you want to adjust that, you know, get some differential in there, easy enough, but you're starting from a totally neutral point. 10 minutes, it's probably long enough on this, but this is my setup. So boom, almost parallel, boom, parallel, parallel, almost parallel. So, and yeah, resolution. So yeah, it's the way it should come from the factory. And out.